Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack complex info, look at the sources, and really distill it down into the insights you need.
Yep, making sense of it all.
And today, we've got a deep dive that's really curated for you if you're leading or building anything. It focuses on that critical journey founders take, scaling yourself as your company grows.
That's exactly right. We're digging into how that founder role changes, fundamentally evolves, and why your own personal growth, adapting your leadership style, is just paramount.
Okay.
And this dive, it's built on, well, years of wisdom collected from the first round review.
Sure.
We're talking insights from over a decade, advice from some really sharp minds in tech.
So what's the mission here?
The mission is really to uncover those fundamental shifts you need to make to scale yourself. Going from being the person doing everything, the individual contributor, all the way up to being a visionary executive.
Okay, let's get into it then. The first big idea we're tackling is, well, people say it's the hardest personal transition a founder makes. It's more than just changing tasks. It's like an identity shift.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's that evolution from doing the work to leading the work. Drew Houston, Dropbox founder, he talked about that initial joy, that satisfaction of like sitting down to solve a problem and standing up when it's done and good, that very direct, hands-on feeling.
Yeah, that's the buzz early on, isn't it? Getting stuff done yourself.
Totally. But he pointed out that building a company or managing people is never just done. It's continuous. It's not a project you finish and tick off the list.
Yeah.
And that can feel really weird at first.
Disorienting, I bet.
Exactly. And you see this split happening in stories like the founder of LendUp. He realized his founder hat and his CEO hat were pulling him in totally different directions. Well, suddenly it wasn't just about the product. He needed to get smart on things like regulatory considerations, stuff that felt, miles away from the code or the initial idea. It's a constant need to reorient.
That's a really key point. It's not just adding skills. It's almost like you said, re-onboarding yourself for a totally new role.
Right. David Losness, he developed this 90-day plan for new managers, and he really hammers this home. He says, it's an entirely new job.
An entirely new job.
Yeah. Your main focus shifts. You're not primarily responsible for your own output anymore. Now it's about other people's happiness and their effectiveness.
Which means you constantly have to be self-aware, right? Checking in, adapting, like you're always in training for the job you have now.
Precisely. And that naturally leads into something a lot of founders really struggle with, the art of letting go. Or, as Molly Graham put it, giving away your Legos.
Huh. I love that analogy. Because it feels like that, doesn't it? Every piece feels like yours.
It does. Tim Chen from NerdWallet, he talked very openly about this, called it ego in decision-making. He admitted he used to think he could add value to, most decisions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and get this, he actually interviewed every single person hired up until they hit 200 employees.
Every single one. That's unsustainable.
Totally exhausting, right? He had to learn, really force himself to step back and trust the team. He realized that for the company to scale, its job wasn't to avoid failure, but actually to test a lot of reasonable hypotheses.
Which means you can't be the bottleneck.
Exactly. So he consciously started to disengage from as many decisions as possible, which feels wrong at first, but it actually empowers everyone else to move faster. That's how you scale.
It's about building the system, the machine, not being the only one pulling the levers.
Right. Sam Korkos has this great analogy. He says, your job as a CEO is to build fire departments, not put out fires.
Okay, I like that. Explain.
Well, if you're the one always rushing in to fix the immediate crisis, the fire, you're actually doing it wrong. You're stuck reacting. Your real job is building the capability, the systems, the team, the fire department, so they can handle it.
Proactive, not reactive. Building capacity.
Precisely. And we've seen the ultimate examples of this, right? Mark Zuckerberg bringing in Sheryl Sandberg at Facebook, or Larry Page and Sergey Brin getting Eric Schmidt to run Google day-to-day so they could focus on the tech vision. That's founders letting go of huge pieces to scale their overall impact through others. That's real growth.
Okay, so you've started letting go. You're building the fire departments. What's the next big lever then for scaling your impact?
Well, a lot of leaders find it comes down to mastering communication. It sounds kind of simple, but it's huge. There's this idea of the CEO as a one-hit wonder pop star.
A one-hit wonder. Okay, where are you going with this?
You have to keep singing the same song, the company vision, the strategy, over and over and over.
Because people forget or new people join.
Both. Exactly. The message needs constant reinforcement. Think about it. How can your teams really contribute effectively, say, to the annual plan, if they don't have the context, if they don't understand what the company absolutely needs to nail this year,
Right. Context is king. Proactive clarity, you called it.
it's essential. And it's not just what needs doing, but how decisions get made. Rajaram, from his time at Square and Caviar, he came up with this framework called SPADE.
Spade, what's that stand for?
Let's see. Solution, problem, alternatives, decision explanation. The key idea is making sure everyone feels heard, but having one clear decision maker. Because, as he said, consensus means no ownership.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Decisions by committee can stall things out.
Right. And what's really powerful about SPADE is the follow-through.
Huh.
After the decision, Rajaram says participants have to commit support out loud.
Out loud.
Yeah. And then the decision maker writes it up just a one-page document and emails it broadly.
So everyone sees the what and the why.
Exactly. That public commitment and documentation. It makes sure the whole company needs to see what and how decisions are being made. It builds massive trust and clarifies the why.
That kind of transparency, wow, it could probably make even tough decisions land better.
Absolutely. Schneider gave an example of a really unpopular decision-making. People come back to the office 5 days a week.
Oof. Yeah, that's tough.
But he proactively framed it, called it a publicity campaign on behalf of our own team, explained the reasoning, the why, made it clear it wasn't punitive or arbitrary. That upfront communication diffused a lot of the potential backlash.
It shows respect for the team, even when the news isn't what they want to hear.
Exactly. And the flip side is also true. Poor communication can send unintended negative signals. David Nunes pointed out something interesting. Executives who use really sloppy email etiquette, all lowercase, typos, it can subtly signal that their time is more valuable than everyone else's. And the ripple effect. Other employees might start thinking, well, if the boss doesn't care about clear writing, why should I? It can undermine the whole standard.
Huh. Never thought of it quite like that, but it makes sense. It's all about setting the tone.
Totally. Which is why some managers even write a user guide for themselves.
A user guide for a person.
Yeah. It might say something like, critically important we learn how we think, so don't worry about over-communicating. Share your logic. It's about being self-aware and transparent about your own process to build trust.
Okay, I can see how that helps others know how to engage with you.
Right. And Bellows adds another layer. People deserve to know that important conversations are happening, even if they aren't directly in the room.
Address the unspoken stuff.
Yeah. Letting people know we're discussing X helps stop the rumor mill, reduces anxiety, it builds a more secure environment. Just being proactively clear, even if the update is no update yet.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we've talked about evolving the role, letting go, communicating clearly. Let's shift gears a bit to capability, because the next big piece seems to be developing your people.
Absolutely crucial. Because ultimately, scaling yourself as a leader means your growth depends entirely on the growth of the people around you.
Your success becomes their success.
Exactly. Think back to David Lostness and his 90-day plan for new managers. He stressed that management is an entirely new job. It needs intentional development, structured training. You don't just wing it.
All right. You wouldn't expect someone to code without learning how. Same for management.
And companies often hit these points where the need for that training becomes really obvious, often because things feel like they're breaking. The Raw Signal Group identified some milestones.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Around 40 people, they say, stuff starts to get hard. Just more complexity. Then at 70 people, silos start to creep up. Information doesn't flow as easily. By the time you hit 120, 150 people, you might see a fractured culture, different teams operating differently. And at 350, they say leadership training isn't just nice to have, it's an absolute imperative.
Those are really clear inflection points to watch out for, signals to invest in your managers.
Definitely. And a big part of that investment is fostering a culture of, well, radical honesty. Patty McCord from Netflix famously said, "You owe the adults you hire the truth."
The truth, even when it's hard.
Especially when it's hard. It's not about being harsh. It's about direct, candid feedback being normal, expected, seen as crucial for growth. That's the foundation of real performance management.
And that feedback, it doesn't have to be purely subjective, right?
Not at all. In areas like sales, Rohrer uses data heavily, sets candid, clear expectations based on numbers, uses data for proactive rather than reactive performance management, spotting potential issues early.
Ah, proactive again, seeing trends before they become problems.
Right. And he also emphasizes providing opportunity for mastery, helping people get better. In this model, managers are more like reporters of facts, giving evidence-based feedback, not just judging based on gut feel.
Data-informed coaching, essentially.
You got it. And this development focus extends to culture, especially when bringing in new leaders. Strike, for example, is apparently quite rigorous with onboarding new leaders
Why is that?
to make sure they really understand the different way in which Stripe operates based on our principles. They actively try to prevent leaders from just importing whatever rules and behaviors they had in their prior roles if they don't fit Stripe's culture.
That's smart, protecting and reinforcing the existing culture.
Definitely. And when issues do come up, say, between an employee and their direct manager, there's an interesting take from Frayne on skip-level management.
Okay, what's the approach?
Instead of the senior manager stepping in to yell at that person, this struggling manager, they should coach the employee who raised the issue, help them problem solve as best they can for themselves.
Empower the employee to manage up or resolve it directly, rather than creating dependency on the senior leader.
Exactly. Build self-reliance.
Okay, so that's handling issues. What about proactive growth? Career paths.
Super important. Ting Ting Zhu recommends having dedicated growth conversations, totally separate from regular 1.1's focus purely on career growth.
Making specific space for it.
Yeah. And Laraway suggests creating a career action plan with employees to help them map out how to get to their envisioned future, making it concrete.
And sometimes even simple things like titles matter, right?
They can. Tim Chen at NerdWallet, he eventually realized he needed to implement titles, calling them critical trail markers. They give people a sense of progress and what's next, which helps with retention.
Sure, a tangible sense of moving forward.
But we also have to acknowledge, especially in hypergrowth, the sheer strain this puts on people. Shrina Vasan from Coinbase talked about this. Companies and people grow at different rates.
Meaning some people get outpaced by the role?
It happens. The role expands faster than the person can adapt sometimes. And that means leaders need to have those hard conversations, helping the person adapt, maybe find a different role that is a good fit, or sometimes helping them move on. It's tough, but necessary for the company and often ultimately for the individual too.
It really underscores the human challenge in scaling. Okay, last big area, embracing discomfort. It feels like this ties everything together. As a leader, you have to constantly push yourself, right? Step outside your comfort zone.
You absolutely do. Sometimes that even means stepping outside your formal job description. Farhan Thawar at Shopify had great advice for engineers in early startups.
What was that?
Basically, if the company isn't getting customers fast enough, don't just sit there coding. Spend your time in marketing. Have range. Gain knowledge in a few different areas to help the whole company succeed. Don't be precious about your role.
Be willing to jump in where the need is greatest.
Right. And leaders also need to carve out time for deep thinking, not just constant meetings and emails. Colin from Front, she schedules stepping back time, half a day each week, just her and a notebook, no computer.
Wow, half a day.
Yeah, to really dig into the thornier issues, make sure her calendar actually reflects her priorities. Imagine the clarity that brings.
That takes discipline, but I can see the value.
And this whole journey, it forces you to face your own internal stuff too. Insights from therapists who work with founders show common fears. Failure, sure, but also success, judgment, financial worries.
And those fears change.
They evolve as their company grows. The stress often increases because now people's livelihoods depend on your decisions. It forces you to grow emotionally, build that resilience.
Develop emotional fitness, as they say.
Exactly. And part of that is what Loon calls dynamic empathy. It's not just feeling for someone, it's doing or saying something about it.
Taking action on empathy.
Yeah, like creating safe spaces for tough conversations, maybe asking people to anonymously share how they're really feeling. Or something simple Fosslien suggests. Before a difficult conversation, just take a 5-minute walk to clear your head and approach it calmly.
Small actions, but they make a difference in how you show up.
Absolutely. And this whole mindset, this willingness to learn and stretch, it even comes back to hiring. Zainab Gadiali, she says she hires for hunger.
Hunger, meaning ambition.
More like a hunger to learn. She looks for people who are willing to learn more, who geek out about side projects, who actively push themselves out of their comfort zone. It's not just about the resume, it's about that drive to grow.
That intrinsic motivation. You can't teach that.
Right. It's maybe the best predictor of success in a fast-changing company.
Wow. Okay, we have really covered a lot of ground here. This whole deep dive into growing as a leader. It's a journey, isn't it? From those first personal shifts, moving from doer to leader.
Yeah, to learning how to let go, build those fire departments.
Right, and then mastering that constant communication, that one-hit wonder song.
And crucially, focusing on developing your people, because their growth is your growth at scale.
All while embracing the discomfort that comes with pushing yourself and the organization forward.
It really hammers home that leadership isn't some fixed trait you're born with. It's about learned behaviors, constant adaptation, being self-aware.
Seeking feedback, even when it's tough.
Exactly. Navigating that discomfort, being transparent, and really dedicating yourself to helping your team grow. It's a continuous loop.
So maybe you can leave our listeners with a final thought from the source material, something to chew on.
Sounds good.
Build your emotional fitness now. Gather your support system early. Create sustainable practices before you need them. The path of a founder isn't easy, but it doesn't have to be lonely.
That's powerful.
It really is. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you keep exploring, keep learning, and keep leading.